Marketing Your Private Practice is a podcast where you'll learn easy to implement tips and strategies to grow your business without spending all day online. I'm your host, Kathy Colaiacovo, and I teach practitioners the Thrive marketing method to create simple and streamlined plans by focusing on long-term strategies, not just social media. Discover ways to spend less time on your marketing, attract more clients, and build the financial freedom that comes with a thriving practice. One where you have time left in your day for the people and things that matter to you. Hey, private practice heroes. It is Kathy Colaiacovo with the Marketing Your Private Practice podcast. And today we're doing one of our marketing audits with Glenys Oyston. And Glenys is a registered dietitian, intuitive eating counselor, and a body image coach. And her company and business is Dare to Not Diet. And you can find her on her website at daretonotdiet.com. And for those of you listening in, these marketing audits are open to you as well. They're part of the podcast, and something that I enjoy doing on here is offering these free marketing audits to folks who apply to get one. That's all it takes. It's that simple. And they are a way to allow you to take advantage of me and my experience helping private practice and service-based business owners all over the world learn how they can grow and scale a profitable practice with simple marketing plans that they learn to implement with ease. And the most important part about them is that they work too. My goal is to help you learn ways to make this happen and build your dream practice, which is one where I like you having a balance so that you're not spending more time on marketing than you do working with clients. And that you have that goal of having time left in your day so you can be with the people and do the things that matter to you. So today we're going to jump into this audit with Glenys. So welcome, Glenys, to the podcast.
Thank you, Kathy. I'm so happy to be here.
Great to have you. And for those listening, I know Glenys a little well. She's been in my Thrive Marketing Academy. We have worked together over the past year or so. And today we're going to be doing a marketing audit that is going to focus a little bit on messaging with Glenys, and messaging in particular, because on your audit application, Glenys, what you had noted to me, your problem that you're having is you don't think your one-on-one coaching page is appealing to people, and you're not quite sure what might not be working. But because you've done an update on your group coaching page, you're thinking something might be missing. So that's what you want to focus on. But before we jump into all that, is there anything you want to add to that before we start talking about it? Like just anything else you've noticed since you applied for the audit or anything?
I don't think so. What made me think about it as I went through my group coaching page and getting all your help with that, and I realized like how different it was from my one-on-one page, that was sort of triggering some stuff like, hey, maybe I'm not getting my message across on that page.
Okay, great. So before we start in, there's always a couple things I like to check with folks so that we have a good focus and we know where we're starting with some of our foundations. So the first one I always ask people is, do you have a one-liner statement that you say to people, Glenys? So maybe when you're introducing yourself at a networking event or even in an online group, you telling people what you do and how you help people. So I know you're on the spot here, but if someone pops that big question, what do you do? How do you answer that?
That's a very good question. And I do think about this a lot. What I say is I work with people with disordered eating habits or eating problems to help them find joy and peace with eating and appreciation for their bodies.
Okay, perfect. Awesome. And does that typically drive any questions from people after that?
If people don't know me and they're asking, often they just assume that I'm going to help people lose weight.
Okay.
Or they often just want to talk about, but do you know how to help me lose weight?
Right. Okay.
I don't find unless I'm just kind of with local folks, I don't find that comes up too much because I don't know if I'm just hanging out with people who know me too much or something. But when people do talk about it with me, they tend to want to know like, oh, that means losing weight. And then they also have a whole lot of ideas about how to do that. So they're not actually asking me. They're usually just telling me.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
Do you ever say to them, sometimes, especially in person, you have to add your name to it at the beginning. Hi, I'm Glenys Oyston. Do you ever say your company name there when you do that? Or do you just dive into I help people?
I probably don't say my company name.
Okay. And by the way, I do not mean your legal company name. I'm talking your website name.
Right. Which is one and the same. I usually just say my name. Again, I'm not really in these situations very often
Okay.
either. Let me think. The last time probably was with a bunch of dietitians. I probably did say my company name.
Okay.
Yeah.
So one thing that I would encourage you to do, because your company name is unique, and we know I've stumbled on it a little bit, but it's a little backwards on how you say it. So Glenys's company name is, and her website is Dare to Not Diet. And we all keep struggling, kind of going, Dare to Not Diet. I'm doing it right.
People say dare not to diet. And I mean, the meaning it changes a little bit, but not diet is sort of almost like a word in itself.
Exactly.
Dare to stop dieting, not diet kind of thing.
Exactly. And that's why I think it's critical that you actually say your website with your name. So, hi, I'm Glenys Oyston with daretonotdiet.com. And just say it like that, like not the company name, but daretonotdiet.com. Because all of a sudden, you have thrown a trigger out to anybody listening to you that you're going to dare them to not diet. And so when you jump into I'm a registered dietitian, I work with people on body image and intuitive eating, things like that. They've already got the message from you that you're going to probably dare them to not be dieting in how you work with them. I would always add that in. And I would recommend you do that as well when you do it typed. So if you're introducing yourself in like an online community or anything like that, do the same thing there. If you're typing the words out, I'm Glenys Oyston, a registered dietitian with daretonotdiet.com. And put it that way, and it will really clearly make you stand out immediately.
Okay.
So that can help you. I do that with mine. I know a lot of people, my legal name is not Pepper It Marketing, nor is it the name of my podcast. But I always say I'm Kathy Colaiacovo with pepperitmarketing.com. I do it for two reasons. They know I'm into marketing. And now they have my domain name as well, my website address. So sometimes that just sticks in the head as well with people. So it is a good thing to do. And I think with yours, it's really important because your domain name, your company name, says straight off a big part of your mission in working with people. You're going to dare them to not diet.
Okay.
Okay.
I think that's absolutely true because when I was at the bank the other day, I was depositing my check. She said, "Oh, that's a really interesting name. What do you do?" And I was like, okay, I've got to leverage this. So
you do. And I think, I know in how we've been working together for the last 9 months or so, that hasn't come out a lot. And I think that is something you want to do because folks like you in the intuitive eating space, people are coming to you. They want to lose weight. That's their big thing. They want to lose weight. They want to stop dieting. They want to do all of this. And you have got a perfect in. It's a challenge. Your domain name is a challenge. I dare you to not diet, right? You don't have dare in there, but you do. But you don't have the I part. But when you're saying or talking about it, it really can lead you into that. And just like with that bank teller, you don't even have to say anything else after it. That opened her up and she's like, well, what does that mean? Right? So you have a perfect opening line, but not if you skip saying your domain name. That's going to be your tip number 1 out of this lesson here today. Okay.
Okay. Thank you. Noted.
Now, the second thing I always ask people, and it helps drive some of my answers and recommendations, is whether or not you have some main keywords that you're using in your marketing, in particular to this one-on-one service that we're focusing on here on that page. So is there some special words that you use there?
Are you asking specifically on that page?
No, in general, when it comes to the service and working with you.
The keywords I'm trying to use the most, overeating was one of them. And I'm realizing that might not necessarily be the best one, but emotional eating, mindless eating, those tend to be the biggest ones.
And so when people come to you, what is their problem, their main problem? I know we've talked a little, they want to lose weight. What else are they saying? Like, how do they verbalize?
Oh, binge eating is another one. Sorry, I just thought of the other one.
Binge eating.
Well, they want to lose weight, but they also know, usually when people are coming to me, they often know that's not what's going to be happening. They want to heal from their disordered eating or their eating disorder. So I work with people with binge eating disorder as well. And they want to feel normal around food. They want to stop thinking about food 24/7. They want to stop feeling sad about food, and they want to stop feeling like they're doing something wrong with eating. And they also want to learn how to maybe phrase it this way, but they're coming to me in a lot of pain around their body. And I think sometimes what they say is, I'd like to have a more peaceful relationship with my body.
Okay. So how do they describe the pain around their body? Did they actually say peaceful around my body?
Some do, because they're already informed about this approach. But some people just say, I just hate my body so much and I don't know what to do.
What do you think they're looking to do? Like, I know they don't know. Do they have some idea in their head?
Well, ideally, they think if they heal their eating problems that they will lose weight and therefore like their body better.
Okay.
I think they think that's how that's going to go. Some do. Again, I tend to have people approach me that are fairly informed about this approach, luckily. So they also know that probably isn't going to be the case, even though they might still want that. They want to just actively stop hating their body so much, because those feelings are driving their disordered eating, where they keep going back to restriction and then the more disordered eating habits that come out of that.
Right. And they get into that cycle. That's probably why they're reaching out at that point. Okay, perfect. What we're going to do now is we're going to take a look at your one-to-one services page. So for those listening in, the website link that we're going to focus on here is daretonotdiet.com/services. So if you are going to follow along at home and want to look at what we're looking at here, at the top of Glenys's website is a one-to-one coaching page. So that's the page that we're looking on here. Now, it is also the top page. So you have services, and then you have a drop down, one-to-one group coaching, body image, diabetes. This is the one-to-one coaching page, but it's also the exact same page as the top menu item, correct?
You can't actually click on the top menu item without getting the drop down. And that is just the way the website does it. I tried to do it, like we've talked about this, about fixing it. So you can't do a drop down menu if you have a main page.
Okay. And you have your site on Squarespace?
Show it.
Show it. Okay. So it's just a system and it's just some of the limitations there. So you got to work with it the way that you can. On your one-to-one coaching page, up at the top, we have some of the words are services. And then you have some nice sliding pictures and a couple of pictures there. And you have the words ready to feel better about eating and your body. And then you kind of slide them down. If you've dieted and dieted and dieted, and all you ended up with more weight gain than you lost, and a ton of anxiety around eating, or you have a raging preoccupation with food and uncontrollable overeating, and you still don't like your body, I can help you. And then it kind of leads down. So I always like to read the top part. I find you sometimes take it in differently when you hear it out loud. And for those listening in, I always encourage you to read your website pages out loud and listen to what you're saying. I think on your page, I'm always looking for three main things, because when we're talking about the second pillar of marketing a practice, we're talking about messaging. And it is key to have a message that hits home with people. It's also key to have a message that hits home with the search engines. So you want to include some of those keywords and different aspects in there. When someone comes to your website, you typically have less than 10 seconds, and these days it's even less. But that's about the amount of time you have to capture their attention when they visit your website. It is important that you instantly show me, one, you understand my problem, two, that you've got some sort of solution that will interest me in that you can help me solve my problem. And three, how do I get started on fixing the problem and moving to that spot that I've been looking for when I'm Googling around and trying to find stuff? First thing that I'm going to mention to you here is on your website, on the very first part of the page, you heard me say our services, okay? Our services, you actually have that in what we call an H2 tag, which is a type of formatting that people can do on a website. So you can put different words and text on your website in these different H tags. And they help the search engines. Those particular H tags help the search engines understand what this website is about, what the content is on there, who it's for. When we talk about keywords for you, and I can see you're grinning here on our video, I'm going to ask you, are the words our services, O-U-R, services, some good keywords for you?
Probably not.
Not at all. It's too generic a term. Okay. And this is a mistake a lot of people do with that very first line on any website page is they don't think about it strategically for keywords and for Google. It's there for the clients, it's there for the people visiting your website too, but it's also a big part of your SEO, your search engine optimization tactics. I would encourage you to change that phrase at the top. That's probably, Glenys, the name of your page, our services. Okay.
Yeah.
That's typically what happens with a page like this. You call it, you go in, you make a page, you name it, services, and then somehow, sometimes it shows up on here. So if within your system, you can actually change those words, and I'm pretty sure you can from what I see here.
I think so, yeah.
I would change it to something different. We're going to talk about what in a second, because I want to talk to you a little bit more before we decide what that will be, because that is a key part of speaking, to the search engines. So marketing and content marketing is a circular kind of relationship between your website, your messaging and your content, and the search engine. So you've got to make sure that they can all connect and they're talking to one another. That part at the top there, you're kind of missing the boat when it comes to what the search engines can help you out with. And we do that because ultimately we want, when people type into the search engines, I need help with blah, blah, blah. I hate my body. What do I do? Then the idea is to try and get you to be a match to some of those searches. I do feel that you've got into their problem. Are you ready to feel better about eating in your body? Yes, I am. If you've dieted and done this and all you got with this, and then you got this and you still don't like your body, I can help you. Okay. That kind of stuff, like you can feel it as I'm reading it, like someone could really, get in tune with that and follow it along. And then you go into, what would your life like be if eating was easy and enjoyable and you enjoyed meals and you ate as much as you needed, you believed in your body, food obsession wasn't a thing. Like you're really laying it out there. So I think that part is really good. Then we come to the next section. So I do think, other than the first line, I think you have to look at that. I do think you're helping understand the problem. And you make it really clear because you've gotten really specific with what you're doing to kind of empathize with them about, do you have these problems and is this where you want to be? Kind of imagine your life over here. So I think you're really great there. Where I think you could use some improvement is the next section. The next section says, food and body healing beginnings. And then it says, I created my signature 4-month program to help you find peace in eating and improve your body image so you can live the life you've always wanted. And then it says, and I'm going to read this other part too, my food and body healing beginnings program is built on 5 anti-diet pillars. This is where I think you're probably losing people, because this one is more about you than it is about them. And 2, it's not really clear, like food and body healing beginnings. Is this the name of your program?
Yeah.
Okay. So it's not clear that's the name of your program. So when you have, and this is for everybody listening, when you have a name of a program and you're going to introduce it to somebody, you want to introduce it and actually be very pointed about making that introduction of it as a name. What I would recommend is what you've got there. You want to choose, you want to imagine your life like this, you want to do this, you can make that happen. And then something like introducing ... food and body healing beginnings. So that way you kind of take it from just being words that are there that might confuse them a little to, oh, this is a name of something because you're introducing it. And you may actually want to say the food and body healing beginnings program or something like that. But for most people, if you do that introducing or you make that point of making that introduction to the name, then it just hits a little more clear with them. Okay, when she talks about food and body healing's beginnings, it's a program. Okay. Then if you are going to introduce a program, some of the things that you don't want to use in your description of it is about you. I created my signature program. Honestly, and I mean, no offense here, but they don't care why you created it. They don't care that it's your signature program. People out there teach people to create a signature program. I get that. I totally have it. Thrive Marketing Academy is my signature program. But in your marketing, you've got to leave that out of all your marketing because that does not matter to anybody but you and the coach who helped you create the signature program. Okay. This is, you want to, if you're going to introduce it, you've got to give them an introduction of what it is. And this is where you typically want to have almost a one-liner on what this program does for somebody. Okay. For instance, when I try to introduce the Thrive Marketing Academy to people, I will say, this is a 12-month group and private coaching program with training that helps you from A to Z to learn a process to streamline and simplify your marketing. That's what the Academy is. Whereas what you're saying here is you've created your signature program to help you find peace in eating and improve your body image. That's the transformation you're going to give me, kind of thing, which is good to have. It's good to have. It's a bit of that one-liner, but it's still not clear the way that you've got it there, that this is actually a service and a program you have. They might still think it's kind of words on the page trying to give them some other information. Does that make sense?
Yes.
What I would do at that point is you can introduce it, let them know. And one thing that I think is important, because when I was looking at the other content here, you do talk about an individualized approach, a thorough get to know you session, work at your pace, 4 months, all of this. I think you're kind of hiding in some of the content. This program, I think, from what you said, it's on the one-to-one coaching page. It is you and me only, the client. I'm the client and you're the dietitian helping me. There's no group aspect. There's no course aspect. It is us together. Is that correct?
Yes.
So I would, when you introduce this, add that in there just to let them know that. Because right now, they kind of have to figure that out by reading about 3 paragraphs to see individualized approach. We work at your pace every other week. Even that isn't clear. It's just you and me, right? Don't assume that because you name the page one-to-one coaching, that they might get that, because they may come there from a link in your email or from a link on social media. So you always want to make sure that it's clear to them that this service in particular is a private, customized, one-to-one, you and me working together, because you have a group coaching and you have a course and you have those other options. This is the unique one where it's us together, it's custom and individualized for everybody. So that's something that you probably want to look at putting into your one-liner, that this is a program to help people like this do this so you can be this, kind of your transformation statement or one-liner about this particular program. And then that way you've got that introduction to the program. It's built on 5 anti-diet pillars. Those are good to have. It will give them some information, but I would actually probably use that a little lower down the page, because when you've got them up at the top there, you've got that they're in there and they're like, yeah, they're nodding their head. I want to do this. I believe I can do this. I don't want to be obsessed about food. You've got them in this kind of head nodding moment because you've set the stakes for them. You've let them know, if this is what you're looking to do, kind of thing. If you don't get any help, this is where you're headed, type of thing. Or you could imagine this life where you get to this place, right? So when you do that, you can let them know that you're there. But the next step that you really want to do before you get in the nitty gritty is just tell them very simply how they can get started doing this. 3 easy steps. And you kind of have that below your list of the 5 pillars. It's an investment in your future. I'm taking clients who are ready. Let's talk for 30 minutes. I'd like to rework that a little bit. It's having a how do you get started, or, what's the plan? What do you do next type of thing when you've kind of got them in a hook spot. Where you really want to go is, how do you get started to make this happen for yourself? Very easy. 1, you book a call with me. 2, we get started with our get to know you session, and then start working out a custom plan for you over the next 4 months of how you can do this. And 3rd is you begin to enjoy, you said it up here at the top, live the life you've always wanted, kind of thing. It's kind of like setting it in that pace of 1, 2, 3. And then you can get a little more into what is it we're going to work on. Well, it's all based on those 5 anti-diet pillars. That can come down a little bit lower type of thing. The other thing that I'd probably like to see you take off of here is the work is an investment in your future. I'm taking clients who are ready to commit to their success. I'd probably leave that for, talking to them one-on-one kind of thing, because it just puts more words before the let's talk and make sure this is right for you kind of thing. Okay. And then underneath, you had an asterisk by 4 months. And so on that, you've got something to the effect of 4 months is a perfect time. Many continue for this and they continue at a continuing client rate. Leave that till you've got them in the program kind of thing. That's not going to help them decide whether or not they want to book that call with you and talk about one-to-one. That's something you can leave for later on. That's the details for another time. And once you've done this work with me for the 4 months, I have a special continuing client rate that you can keep going on to continue working with me if you need to, that type of thing, and do it there. Putting it here, it just adds some extra words in that you just don't need.
Okay.
And then you've got your frequently asked questions, which are great. Insurance, how do the appointments happen? How long does it take? All of that kind of stuff is really good. You've got a couple testimonials. And then you've got another, it's easy to get started, book a free discovery call and schedule a chat, which is great to have down there as well. Those are all good. And I think for the most part, you're good. I think it's just sort of where you start to talk about the program that you kind of fall off a little bit with that as to where you could go with it there. Okay.
Yeah.
Any questions about that?
No, I think it was a big revelation. Like when I was doing my group coaching program, I think that would probably be a good template for what I'm also trying to say. But basically, just to review, obviously I need to change the top. Oh, we were going to talk about the top, I guess.
Oh, yes. Back up at the top.
Otherwise, things are sort of okay until I get to the end of what would your life be like? And I have a lot of bullet points there. And then sort of starting to introduce the program. And then when I want to talk about, and I know I have this recording to listen to later, but I'm just kind of making sure I understand what you're saying, which is I can introduce the program, but then I really need to talk about what problem they have going from this to this kind of thing.
Yeah. And if you want to make that happen, here's 3 easy steps to do it.
Got it.
1, 2, 3.
Okay.
Yeah.
How detailed do I need to be in that going from you're here to this is where you'll be?
Not very detailed, like a sentence.
It's a sentence. Okay.
Yeah. And that's where, and I'm glad you reminded me about going up to the top. I do feel you could be a little stronger at the top with the ready to feel better about eating in your body, right? A good thing to have up at the top is kind of a header. And that's really talking about, identifying who they are now and the person they are and the problem they have and what their life could be like in the future. You've kind of got the future, feel better about eating and your body, right? That's what you've got there. So you have some of it there because next underneath you have, if you've dieted and all you got was more weight gain and anxiety around eating and a preoccupation with food and uncontrollable overeating. Some of the words that you were saying to me that they're using, emotional eating, mindless eating. There's another word that you used.
Binge eating.
Binge eating. Like if binge eating is a big part of this, then you want to get that in there. Having something at the top, so kind of replacing our services. When people look for this, are they looking for nutrition counseling? Are they looking for type of service that's going to fit in a box as a description?
I don't know. I guess I don't know what you mean by the question, actually.
If someone were to describe your services for this particular thing, for your beginnings program, would a description that people would understand, would it be nutrition counseling services with a dietitian?
Yeah. I think that would be ultimately how people think of it. Yes.
Okay.
And it is what it is. Yeah.
Right. So I'm not saying to put all of that at the top because that's 5 words. It's a lot. But instead of our services, one-to-one nutrition counseling or therapy, that in that H2 tag could help you a little bit more. One thing that you said too, Glenys, is that a lot of people, when they come to you, they know a bit more. My question would be, would you like to reach people that haven't got that educated yet? I think you have some lead magnets and tools that do educate them a little. Are you trying to attract them at all that don't have the know of what is intuitive eating and this non-diet approach? Or are you happier to get the ones that totally understand it? Because that can be easier to convert those leads to clients too.
It's a good question. And I think in the last year, I was hoping to sort of reach out to those people who don't know about it. But what I find is they're still very much stuck in the, no, I need to lose weight. And the people who do become my clients are the people who know that they have the littlest inkling of what intuitive eating might be. Those people tend to be ready to say yes.
Okay, right. If you're getting them more pre-qualified, let's stick with that. If you were looking to reach more that might not be there yet, because maybe you have a lead magnet that educates them in a follow-up sequence and all of that, you could make sure you're adding some of it there. Does it have to be on this page? No, not necessarily. It might be in your blogs and different things like that. And then your blogs can have calls to action to the program, right? That would be one option that you could have there. What you may want to do here is sort of something, what was the word? You said a lot of them feel pain around their body. They hate their body and don't know what to do, right?
Yeah.
You said they think they'll heal by losing weight, and that's what will make them like their body and love their body again. It could be instead of our services and before the, are you ready to feel better? But I think I would try it even just without necessarily anything there, right?
Taking out our services. Yeah, I think that's not a problem.
Yeah. Because it would move things up a little. And then you've got the, if you've dieted and dieted and dieted. I mean, anybody like that hits home with a lot of them. It won't necessarily hit home with the binge eating people for emotional eating or think they do mindless eating. So you may want to use a couple of those keywords in those descriptive lines that you have next.
Mm-hmm.
You've talked uncontrollable overeating, but you said they may not resonate with overeating so much as emotional eating, binge eating. So maybe try changing that out there. Okay. That's where I would start. The other thing, kind of bonus that I would like to talk to you about, a little bonus tip here, is on your homepage, you have some of those similar types of you're obsessed with food statements and different things. Then you send them to learn more, it says, and the button goes to your one-to-one page. Yet you have one-to-one, you have a group program, and you have a diabetes program. What you may want to include at some point, not necessarily up at the top there, but you don't have a spot where you can have people differentiate between, I'm looking for one-to-one services with somebody, I'm looking for a group program, or, oh, a diabetes specific course. Okay. So I don't see that on your homepage. And what happens with what you've got on your homepage now is the only spot you're sending them to learn more about your services is this one-on-one page. If that's where you want them to go, that's fine. If that's what you're looking to bring more in, that's fine. But if you are looking for people to know you have a diabetes type course program or that you have a group program or course, there's nothing really on that homepage that tells me that.
Okay.
And sometimes a really good way to do that is just literally, 3 buttons or blocks, right? There's 3 ways that you can work with me: one-to-one, group coaching, or if you're looking for a diabetes specific preventative, I can't remember what the course is called, but something like that.
Self-care for diabetes. Yeah. I can also make a page. It just won't be attached necessarily to the menu. It'll still link to those other pages.
Yeah. And you don't necessarily need a page that describes them. 3 boxes would easily cover that on your homepage, really.
Okay.
And that would probably be a little bit easier to do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So that's what I would recommend for you there, is really look at speaking and really including some of those keywords a little bit more than you are. If people are using those words of binge eating, not overeating, and mindless eating, include some more of that in there. And then fix the H2 tags in there and get those not on a generic phrase like our services. So that may be where you want to have that differentiation on those 3 pages. Maybe on this page it says one-to-one nutrition counseling or one-to-one services or nutrition coaching, however you describe it. And then on your group program, if it's not clear that that's a group, you've got to make it clear. If you're self-care for diabetes, I'm pretty sure when they get to that one, they'll be clear on that one. But that's how you can differentiate these as well on this side here. Okay. And just really make sure that the main message you're getting there is hitting home with them, their problem, keywords in it, and then what the program is and how they get started with you.
Okay.
And that will move you into that. Okay.
Okay. Quick question. We're saying we can just kind of do without the hour services. Wouldn't be beneficial to say one-to-one coaching or one-to-one?
So that's not a keyword for you, right? That's a really high value keyword area.
Got it.
If you're going to use it on your homepage, you have Glenys Oyston, registered dietitian, intuitive eating counselor, body image coach in that spot. Those are keywords for you. One-to-one coaching is still not a keyword.
Okay.
One-to-one nutrition coaching, if that's how you describe it, or intuitive eating coaching, that is a keyword. So if you put it there, that is a better option than not having any.
Okay.
All right. So any other final questions before we finish here today?
No, I think that's been really super helpful and kind of exactly what I was thinking. I mean, I didn't know how to do it, but I knew there was something missing.
Yeah. So really 3 simple steps. Tighten up the message up at the top. Be more clear about introducing the program so they understand it's a name of that program and what it does. And then add a little bit more SEO and keywords in there. And then look at, as a bonus to this, it's not on that page, but on your homepage, just giving people, there's 3 ways you can work with me: one-to-one, group, or self-care for diabetes course.
Okay.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining me for this today and opening up about your practice and your marketing. And I always call it a brave thing for people to do publicly. So thank you so much. And can you let us know, for the people that are listening, how they can reach out to you if they wanted to connect with you?
Absolutely. Well, thank you for all this help. And people can reach me through my website, daretonotdiet.com. And I also always say, if you really can't remember that, you can just Google me and I do come up, I think. If you Google Glenys Oyston, I think even if you misspell it, I'll probably come up. But that's the best way to reach out to me, because there is a contact page on my website. And so anybody can just send me a message through that.
Perfect. Awesome. Well, thanks so much. Again, I really appreciate you taking the time for this. And for those of you who are listening, this is your reminder as well that these audits are open for you to get one too. And it's very easy to do that. Number 1, you apply at pepperitmarketing.com/audit. We have 5 different types. You can just check off the type of audit you're looking for. And once you're chosen, my team will send you a link to book your session. And then we go into the recording studio like Glenys and I are doing today, talk through your problems and look at solutions and action steps for you as well. And I'll put a link to all of Glenys's contact information there and where you can apply for your own marketing audit as well. Thanks everybody for tuning in. My goal with this podcast is to help you learn strategies to help you thrive from A to Z. So be sure to hit follow. Don't miss out on any new episodes. Have a fabulous day. And be sure you sign up for your own audit too. It could give you some really good action steps to move forward with your practice so that you can grow and thrive. I'll see you next time. You can find all of our show notes and resources mentioned at marketingyourprivatepractice.com. Be sure to connect with me on Instagram at pepperitmarketing and say hi. I'd love to hear any feedback you have, and make sure to rate and review the podcast and hit subscribe on your favorite player so you don't miss any future episodes.